in the opening, but I have a feeling Magnus is just going to stick to his guns. Go e4, knight f3, bishop c4, yet again, try to get a tiny edge there. Wesley is proven to be extremely solid though, so it won't be easy.
It seemed as if Magnus was still thinking which opening to choose.
Yeah, not a very motivated handshake there, like, do we really have to start already? He does go for d4, and we get a Slav. Magnus normally doesn't enter the complications with knight c3, dc4, or e6. Plays a slower line, e3, bishop g4. That typically leads to white having the two bishops, while black has a rock-solid structure. Knight h4 is working on that project. He's trying to catch this bishop. And it is all highly theoretical territory. Both these guys look bored executing the opening moves. It's all theory. Bishop g2, one of the main moves here. g5 is a very typical way to handle this structure because you don't want to run into white going g5, gaining space here. So you fix this, and then you try to deploy your pieces. Knight bd7. Sometimes you castle by hand, go king f8, g6, king g7. Sometimes you go for dc4, followed by knight d5. It's not easy to gain an advantage here, but Magnus Carlsen has something he normally enjoys, the two bishops and a board full of pieces, so he can play slowly and try to build on that. He castles kingside, which I'm not sure. Yeah, after going bishop g2, that's probably what you do, but very often in these lines you see white going for bishop d2 and long castles. Wesley still seems to be in book, doesn't really hesitate about any of his moves.
Yeah, he hasn't used almost any time, Wesley, so still has more than 5 minutes. With the 2 seconds increment, he managed to build up some time there, while Magnus Carlsen has used at least half a minute.
One funny thing about this line that you normally have this Mexican standoff here between the two queens neither side wants to capture, because queen b3, ab improves white structure, while queen takes b6. Both ab and knight takes b6 tend to help black. After knight takes b6, white is forced to break the tension here, which he doesn't really want to, and ab gets the rook into play. So typically neither side is going to take, and we see Wesley now avoiding the queen exchange actively by going queen to c7. This is preparing another typical move, knight to b6, forcing white to reveal what he wants to do with this tension, because cd5, even ed5, normally this clarification helps black. Well, if white goes c5, this would be nice if he had time to build up an attack here, but normally he's too slow and black gets counterplay with either e5 or b6. So pretty standard stuff.
It looks as if he would be looking at the white king, but I believe that knight takes g4 never works. It's only a check on h2. The g2 bishop will defend the white king very well, so that's just something to check, but it doesn't work.
No, Magnus has to decide if he,
e4, knight takes e4 is on the board, knight takes e4, d takes e4, and after bishop takes, this position is opening up for the pair of bishops.
Yeah, Carlsen won a very similar structure against Nakamura in London a while back, where he didn't get much out of the opening, but then later managed to simplify the position by going d5 and exploit his pair of bishops. But in general, this structure is supposed to be extremely solid for black, so still a lot of work for the world champion to make something happen. He has to worry about his h3 pawn, so he retreats his bishop, also preparing d5 without having to be concerned about knight to c5. Not so clear to me how black should arrange his pieces. It would be nice to have time to bring the knight to either h4 or f4, but if you start this journey, you have to be very, very sure the opening of the center does not kill you long before the knight arrives on h4.
It might kill you. It seems to be fast. d5 is in the air, so he castles kingside instead of knight f8.
Yeah, he gets his king out of the way, which is sensible, but now, of course, he's a long way from getting this knight to its best square. And feels like Magnus, with his very timely e4, has managed to create a bit of an initiative. Still, I hesitate to say he's better, because I'm not sure how realistic it is to break through in the center here. But it's a little harder for black to maneuver. You gotta keep an eye on the g5 pawn, else such a maneuver would be nice, but I don't know how to implement that. It's not obvious where this knight is going. On b6, it can always be bothered with a4, a5. So Wesley correctly decides to wait, go rook e8. And while Magnus probably is not in a hurry either, is going to build his position up, put the rook on c1. Yeah, that's what happened. Tiny advantage for Magnus Carlsen, but there is still everything to play for.
The kind of position he loves playing, so I'm sure that he is happy with what he achieved, and he will try to improve his position move by move. This is a slow position, but with space advantage and pair of bishops, this is looking promising for Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, Wesley would like to go bishop f6, knight f8, knight g6, all these moves, but the reason he's calculating is that after bishop f6, or after any move, frankly, you have to make sure that d5 does not hurt you, and here it does seem like a problem, because cd, the queen is under attack, and both bishops are breaking free. Not sure how Wesley should react to that. Maybe he has to go queen b6 back, offer the exchange of queens. Probably Magnus would be the one to turn it down now by going something like queen c2. Not an easy position to play, and it tells on the clock where Wesley, after blitzing out the opening, is now down to 2 minutes. Has to come up with a plan here. Not an easy thing.
It feels like he should be waiting for white to do something, because with black, it's really, you shouldn't go for moves like e5 or c5, at least not in this position.
Yeah, c5, the b7 pawn is a problem, and e5 just seems to open the position up for the white bishops as well.
Exactly,
therefore,
there's no active plan
b6.
for black. He goes for queen b6.
And as said, Magnus should avoid the exchange of queens here. Let's say, see if he agrees with that. Doesn't seem like it. He doesn't mind it. He wants to go for the opening of the position with d5 instantly. What does Wesley do? The problem is, if you go for this cd, once again, the white pieces are fully activating. You're not in time to get in a move like bishop c5, which I would really like to play. However, if you do it instantly, c6 is dropping. So it does look like problems. Also, if you go ed, cd, c5, trying to keep things close,
CD with
d6.
your idea.
So no, he's in trouble. He probably has to go c takes d5 and try to defend this, but there's too many targets. Bishop a7 might even be a move immediately, but also rook takes d5, intending rook c7, or bishop takes d5.
C takes d5 on the board. He's going for the position you are talking about, but
so many options.
for a pair of bishops, this is a paradise. He can play for on both flanks thanks to having these powerful bishops.
Yeah, I'm glad it's Magnus's decision, because every candidate move that I pointed out makes a lot of sense to me. Rook c7, rook d5, bishop d5, bishop a7. He goes for rook d5. Probably that's the one you have to calculate least. You just keep your initiative, planning rook c7. Also hinting that you might just take the pawn.
Also on a7, you can grab a pawn. Bishop a7 could be a threat as well. So many things in the air. Not easy for Wesley so to hold the position.
Yeah, I believe it might be beyond repair already. And Magnus, yeah,
Bishop
has shown
f6.
superior understanding. Bishop f6 is a good move. Targeting b2. But rook c7 looks terribly strong. For example, when all these guys are falling, and if white can keep one of his b pawns.
Bishop takes a7 was the move of Magnus Carlsen.
The point is bishop b2, rook d1 with a very unpleasant pin. Bishop a7, you have to make sure b6 doesn't hurt you, but it does not seem to be the case here. Just rook d1 anyway.
Wesley played knight e5, but
yeah,
this is just a pawn down.
It is desperation. Of course, he's going to try to put up a fight, but Magnus has many ways to roam. This could already be one of them, if I'm not blundering. No, I don't think I am.
Because rook d7, you want to
maybe
play...
I am blundering. I wanted to give a check and another check. g6.
Might work.
Bishop e3, yeah, that should be good enough.
Yeah, I think he's going for it. Now it's 2 pawns up for the world champion. It's doubled b pawns, but still, one is enough of them to promote it. With the help of the pair of bishops, it shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah, very smooth positional victory by Magnus Carlsen. That's what he does. He makes his things look almost effortless. I'm not quite sure where things went wrong for Wesley. I have a feeling queen c7 might have been too optimistic, and after e4, Magnus managed to consolidate his pair of bishops.
In the meantime, Vishy Anand drew against Levon Aronian. That means that Aronian has now 14.5, and Vishy as well on 14.5. They are sharing 3rd place.
Yeah, if Wesley loses, he joins them? Or no, he's half a point ahead of them.
He's still half a point ahead of them. Okay. But many games left. This is round 8 today. We will have 1 more game today, and tomorrow 9 more rounds of Blitz chess.
What happened here? He played knight d3, and Magnus decided To my small surprise, against rook c8, decided it's not necessary, just went rook d1, pinning this knight, so bishop b2 is impossible. And Wesley goes knight b4, which allows white to keep both his extra pawns after takes, bishop d4, for example, intending bishop c3. Yeah, this is a walk in the park for the world champion. 2 bishops, 2 extra pawns, pas de problème.
It seems that Caruana's bad day is continuing. Vladimir Kramnik has quite a lot of an advantage against him in this round.
Carlsen plays bishop e4, same story, just restricting this knight on b4. Can't jump here or there. Wesley's going to go bishop f6, bishop c5, and he resigns.
Wesley so resigns, so Magnus Carlsen increases his lead to, that will mean how many